He got rejected by every bank for a loan, so he came up with an extreme idea. Buy the office building, where 7 banks are located. Then those banks become his tenants, and they can no longer deny his loan requests. He decided to act immediately. Every night he watched the building. He counted occupied floors by the lights on, then estimated the real occupancy rate. He combined field data with research, calculated annual rental income, and estimated the real profit. Finally he valued the entire building. He then approached a black real estate investor named George, and laid out his acquisition plan. George was shocked by the idea, because it was the most expensive building in Los Angeles, and the owner was white. In that era of America, black buyers were almost never allowed to purchase white-owned property. Charlie did not argue. He calmly explained the logic. The building housed 7 major banks. Owning it would make financing easier, and give him early access to financial trends. He also discovered something important. Even though the location was prime, many offices were still empty, which meant low rental income, and high operating costs. The owner was also raising capital for a new project, and this building was a financial burden he wanted to get rid of. Charlie backed it up with data, showing George every calculation step by step, and proving it was a safe investment. George was eventually convinced. But there was a major problem. Their black identity would block the deal. The owner would never accept them directly, so they needed a white front person. Charlie already had someone in mind, a handyman named Matthew who worked on his home. He was ordinary but not racist. Matthew did not understand the plan at all. He had no knowledge of banking or acquisitions. They explained they were not buying a bank, but buying the building the banks sit in. He would only act as the public face, and they promised to train him fully. From the next day training began. Matthew entered full-time preparation. He studied finance negotiation and business strategy. He was also coached on presentation and manners, including golf etiquette and social behavior. The training was intense every day. After 3 months, Matthew started adapting to the role. He still did not fully understand finance, but he had strong memory skills. He memorized everything he could not understand. He also showed talent in golf. His public image changed completely. They built him a new identity, a Texas oil heir, a young wealthy investor persona. It looked fully credible. When meeting the property owner, Matthew impressed everyone with his golf skills, and secured the negotiation opportunity. Charlie prepared all the data in advance, and made Matthew memorize everything. During negotiations, no matter the price increases, Matthew responded with precise numbers instantly, down to decimal level accuracy. Even professional accountants were shocked. The valuation process was completely overridden. The experts could not refute him. The original price was $2.4 million, but the final deal closed at $1.56 million. After buying the building, Charlie reanalyzed the problem. He realized the issue was not location, but the leasing strategy. The previous owner only rented to large white corporations, but those companies already had headquarters, so demand for office space was low. That left most units empty. Charlie shifted strategy immediately. He targeted black professionals instead, doctors, lawyers, and accountants. These groups had stable income, and strong demand for professional office space. They wanted high-end buildings. To improve credibility and client trust, this change quickly filled vacancies. Rental income stabilized. Cash flow improved significantly. He then expanded the system, building a network of banks, law firms, and medical services, all interconnected. Resources were shared across sectors. Clients moved within the system. Value was continuously amplified. The building value increased rapidly. Cash flow and asset value grew together. Their partnership expanded steadily. Charlie's real estate empire grew fast. Property holdings expanded continuously. At peak he owned 177 properties. He broke racial barriers in Los Angeles, and helped integrate communities. Black families moved into previously white neighborhoods. His success even reached national recognition, including a meeting with the vice president. But he did not stop there. He returned to Texas, trying to challenge the racial system there. But reality was still harsh. Segregation remained everywhere. Black Americans were excluded from business networks. Banks still refused loans. White institutions controlled finance and real estate. Black shoe shiners served only white customers. This reminded him of his past. He used to be a shoe shiner himself, working outside banks observing businessmen. He listened to financial conversations, and learned business knowledge over time. He slowly built his understanding of finance, and decided to become a banker. But his father told him it was impossible. In Texas at that time, black entrepreneurship could lead to prison. Society completely excluded them. Despite that, he stayed determined. 15 years later he moved to Los Angeles. Living in a small storage room, he searched for opportunities. He noticed a housing imbalance. White neighborhoods had vacancies, while black neighborhoods were overcrowded. So he entered real estate, buying properties in white areas, and renting them to black middle-class tenants. He found a white apartment building, near a black neighborhood. It was old and poorly maintained, but had strong potential. The owner asked $35,000. He only had $30,000 saved. There was a funding gap. He proposed a split payment deal. Pay up front and cover the rest later, using rental income to close the gap. The owner rejected the offer. He considered it too risky. The deal fell through. Later he found a bank linked to the property owner. He attempted to get a loan, but faced discrimination immediately. He waited outside for hours. He requested a $5,000 loan, but was denied again. The financial system was closed to him. Then the owner called back. Impressed by his persistence, he reconsidered the deal, and agreed to sell the property, also offering loan guarantees. The transaction was approved. He bought his first property, and began operations. During renovation, tenants resisted changes. They denied his ownership. Police were called to verify claims, but even officers struggled to believe it. A black man owning property in a white area. Eventually police left. That night he confirmed ownership again. The tenant refused to accept it. She moved out the next day. New black tenants quickly replaced her. Demand was strong. The model was proven successful. He paid the remaining balance, and secured full ownership. He formed a partnership structure. The owner handled legal contracts. Charlie handled operations. Profits were split evenly. Business expanded quickly. Income grew steadily. He built a real estate system. His living conditions improved. He moved into a better home. But his partner suddenly died. Ownership passed to the widow. She strongly opposed black involvement. She tried to force him out, and offered to buy his shares cheaply. She threatened legal action. Lawyers said his chances were low. He lacked formal proof of ownership. The bank manager had been hired away, and refused to support him. The system closed again. He noticed 7 banks in one building, and had a new idea. Buy the entire building, control the financial gateway, and solve lending discrimination. George strongly opposed it, calling it too risky, but eventually agreed. They used Matthew again, to push the acquisition forward. They only secured 80% ownership, leaving white control in place. They operated in the background. Loans continued flowing to black communities. Business expanded further, but regulators noticed irregular activity. Loan volumes increased sharply. An official investigation began. Matthew was questioned. He defended the expansion, but regulators already had evidence. He was pressured to reveal partners. Charlie refused to surrender, but the investigation escalated. The bank faced collapse. Matthew proposed buying a smaller bank, to move loans and avoid scrutiny, but it created chaos. The system became unstable. Risk levels exploded. Regulators prepared an audit. The bank was charged with fraud. Its license was revoked. The entire operation collapsed. Years of work disappeared. Charlie confronted the system, but nothing changed. Authorities ordered removal, and threatened arrest. That night everything fell apart. Matthew was offered immunity if he testified against them. He eventually agreed, and blamed Charlie and George. The trial began. Charlie was accused of fraud, for hiding ownership structure, and using a proxy frontman. He defended himself in court, explaining systemic exclusion, and how black entrepreneurs were forced to hide identities. The case proceeded to judgment. All assets were confiscated. He was sentenced to 3 years in prison. His empire was destroyed. Years of work erased. After release he reunited with his wife and George. Life restarted from zero. They regrouped in the Bahamas, and began building again. They re-entered real estate, and restarted their business growth.